The next array iteration method that we're going to talk about is the array map. So it's the map method. And this one actually creates a new array. And it doesn't change the original array. So the original array stays the same. And it performs a function on each element and then stores the result of that function in the new array. And just to note that it only executes on elements with values, right? If it doesn't have a value, then that would be the undefined elements. Okay, so it loops through the array. So here it is. And notice that this time you need a different array. So here the code creates another array. Again, it sends these parameters. It sends 3 arguments, value, index, array in that order. You can use all 3 of them, or you can just use 1 or 2 or 3. And here they're just using 1, so all they put in the parameter is value. Remember, that has to do with order. So if you want the index, you have got to have 2, because index is the second argument that is sent. And in this one, here they've created the first array, and then there's they declared the second array, and then call this iteration method map to fill up the second array. And what it'll do is it'll call this function once for every element in the array. What does this function do? It takes the value that in the original array, multiplies it by 2, and that's what it returns. And that return value is stored in numbers 2. It goes through that. In this case, it'll go through it 5 times. It'll actually go through it however many elements are in the array, call that function that many times, and store the resulting value in the new array. So the original array has 5 values. So it turns out the resulting array will have 5 values as well. And notice that each value is 2 times the original value, because that's what's happening in the function. It's returning a value that's twice as big. So we get 98, 18, 32, and 50. And so that's what mapping does. It maps to a new array. Each value in the original array gets mapped to the new one, and that mapping is based on the function that is called. The last we're going to cover is filter, and it also creates a new array, but it doesn't fill it up with an element from each. It won't necessarily have an element for each one. Again, it sends the same values. And this one only uses values, so we'll do that. What it does is, based on whether it gets true or false, if it's true, it will put an element in the new one. If it's false, it won't put any value in there. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Here's the original array. The function is saying return a value whether the value is greater than 18. Now this is a comparison, and the result of a comparison is either true or false. So this function is going to return either true or false. If it returns true, then that element will be added to the new array. If it's false, in this case 4 is false, it will not be added to the new array. What about 9? 9 greater than 18 is false, so it will not be added. What about 16? 16 greater than 18 is false, so it will not be added. What about 25? 25 greater than 18 is true, so 25 will be added to that array. Once you get done calling that function once for every element in the array, it will move on to the next line, and it'll print out what was stored in that new array, just 2 values, 45 and 25. And so that's the filter method.